Now this is scary. I'm not sure if it's true or not, but there's a theory going around. It's more like a religious theory. I saw a TikTok video where a preacher was talking, and he spoke about something very interesting idea. What if God is actually water? Think about it for us.
What if water is God?
Then that would mean God is both in us and all around us. That God is both above and below us. Why a woman's water breaks when we're born.
But there's more. We often say that God is everything. Well, if that's true, then everything around us would be what? Water. There's water in the air even though we can't see it. There's water inside you, inside me, and in every living thing. Now consider places where water is scarce, like deserts or wastelands. What do you usually find there? Death, because of the lack of water, and it's scorching, like hell. Here's something else. In the Bible, when Jesus was tempted by the devil, where was he? In the desert.
The Bible describes God as the light in multiple places. Stars, the universe, is light. They're also plasma. Water is plasma. The earth is plasma. It's an iron saline solution, just like our blood. The blood is the plasma. Now, if you type, is the universe the light? Of course the universe is the light, but it says no, the universe is mostly dark. The universe is mostly dark. Space is mostly dark. The universe is light. There are two different things. See, this is a confusion. Space itself is lone. It doesn't need anything to exist, but everything needs it to exist. So it precedes the universe, which is the light. So the darkness or chaos gives birth to the light or order. So yes, God is light, which is all around us, and the light is consistent, is a consistency of plasma, which is quote unquote water. Because it's just gas in a medium form. It's not too hot, it's not too cold, it's just right. It's that Goldilocks. So technically physics and God go hand in hand. It's a fact overall regardless. And even if you look at it in a simple term like this, if everything was created by God and we live inside of time, which is a supreme being or existence, because existence is God, and alpha is a beginning, omega is an end, alpha and omega, that's a time frame because that's beginning and end, then all of that is God, and it created everything that is. Now people get hung up on the word create, which means basically just to bring something into existence. Instead of thinking about what it means and the word association, they squabble on just using the word. Like to create means that you have to create something or this or that. People argue over that. Well, it was incepted, it was created, it was formulated, it was brought into being. You know, there's all kinds of words you can use for it. Doesn't matter what you use, the point stands. Now, when it comes to the senses, they say we only have 5 senses. We have 7 senses. The first one is consciousness, just like the universe. Now, the universe and our senses mirror each other. The first thing that was born was consciousness. That's the force, the fundamental force of the universe is consciousness, because the universe was conceived. Okay, is paternity established through nuclear DNA? Yes, paternity is established primarily through the analysis of nuclear DNA. And that would be the nucleus. And the nucleus mirrors an atom also. So a cell and an atom have similar body structure. So that's the Y, because Y is male, nuclear. Maternity. Maternity is established through mitochondria DNA. And we know this is the electrical powerhouse of a cell. So we have nuclear and electrical energy. That's literally conception. The universe was conceived. So the first fundamental force of the universe is consciousness, because conception is the derivation of consciousness. Now, what is the universe? Well, it's light and sound, and warmth, and cold. So the first 3 senses that are going to evolve is to see, to hear, and to feel with the consciousness. So that's 4. Now, while we're on Earth, we instinctively, biologically evolve 2 extra senses, which are to smell and to taste. That's 6 senses. Then there's the intuition, the intuitive sense, which is supposedly the 6th sense, but that's actually the 7th sense. Alright, so the womb of space, where everything starts, just a black hole. Okay, yeah, there's no light, but space is still there. It's just not illuminated. Okay, this is a womb. This is X squared. Okay, this is female in nature. It's a female entity. that's going to harbor a fractal plasmatic being, which is the universe, inside of it. Plasma, the blood, the water, so to speak. Now, the reason why is it starts with this, okay? This is why men have nipples. This is why the female egg cell has 1,000 genes in it and the male's only has 100. Because the female birthed the male. Technically, it starts out with the female. The female force is the most fundamental and the most powerful force. Sorry, guys, but it's a truth in physics, in nature. This holy void, because it's a hole, it's a dark black hole, it's just a hole, an infinite hole, gave birth to the light through sonoluminescence. Sonoluminescence is a sound frequency ran through water that progenites light. And this is one reason why I made that video where I said the darkness, since the darkness is supposed to be the devil or Lucifer, is the light bearer, and the darkness is eternal darkness, which is, evil or whatever, the devil, and it gives birth to the light, then that's why Lucifer gave birth to the light, which is God. Now, this could also be looked at like this. Since God has always been, space itself has no beginning. We can't measure a beginning nor an end. So space itself has always been. It's within and without everything. And as I said, everything needs it to exist, but it doesn't need anything to exist. It's also timelessness because you have no beginning nor end. So time technically doesn't apply to space itself, but it does to a universe because you have something within the space relative to it. Like if I take and put a particle in there, I can measure that particle relative to the space, and I can get a time frame for that particle. If I put a universe in there, it's no different. I can get a time frame for that universe. Remember, being, alpha and omega, the beginning and the end, a time frame. Basically what I did was let go of all my beliefs and just went with straight logic. And the logic proves that there is and isn't a God. It's all your own perspective. That's God. Whatever your perspective is, that's what God is. So if you perceive something that, whatever you've been programmed to believe, or anyone's been programmed to believe, whether they believe God exists or don't, that's their perspective. And if it doesn't make sense one way or the other, then their perspective is wrong or contorted. Now, I'm not trying to be an asshole. I'm just trying to help people understand a perspective. Because perception can lie to you. What you're seeing can lie to you. But if your perspective is correct, doesn't matter what someone tells you, you're always going to come at it correct. Because no one can alter your perception if your perspective is proper. And plus, space itself is an uncreated creator. Because it can't be created. You can't make it out of anything and you can't erase it. The only way to erase space is by filling it up. But there's no walls. That only applies to a container that has sides. Space itself doesn't have any sides or walls. So you can't fill it up. So it's also an unmoved mover. Because everything in it is moving, but it doesn't move. So God and physics go hand in hand. And the universe and science go hand in hand with religion and philosophy. People that only believe in the science and they discard religion and philosophy only get half the picture. And maybe not even that. And the religious people, same applies to them. If they believe in the religion but they don't believe in the science, they're only getting half the picture. The point is, it's all true. It just has to do with perspective and a lot of understanding our own language, because it does apply to our own language. We have to understand what words actually mean and their origins, their etymology. And I hate to say this, but this is the kind of information people don't like because it can potentially squash the beef. It can actually bring perspective to the plate. It has the potential to unite people's minds. But people are programmed to stay away from this kind of logic. Because if you divide the people into these sections and then turn them against each other, it's easy to manipulate and control them and stay on top, like the government does. It's just like evolution. People argue that, God did it, the evolution isn't real. Well, how and what are two different things. What did it? God, the universe, time, existence is what caused evolution to happen. How did it create life? Well, it used evolution. You see what I'm saying? So what did it and how it was done are two different things, but people don't ever bother to just focus on the sentences or even just the words when someone speaks them. Just all they have to do is just look at that. Well, wait. That doesn't make sense because that's a how and a why, or a how and a what did it. You see what I'm saying? And the funniest thing of all is people tell me that whenever I say God is the universe, that's just a cop-out. A cop-out is sitting and squabbling over and never actually resolving anything or bringing any perspective or information to the table. Like I just did. So that's the cop-out. And they only say, oh, it's a cop-out because they don't want to think about that stuff because they're programmed. Like I said, they're programmed to miss the object. And just like this is the nucleus. Mother Earth, like the electron, the mitochondria, on the outside of the nucleus, mother, father. The father is the light, the mother is the earth. Mother Earth and father light. Or you could even say father time. You could even do the same thing with a galaxy. A galaxy, there's the nucleus. Now, a galaxy is inverted because this is the last stage. A quasar is the last stage of emission. Emit and time. Emit is time backwards, or time is emit backwards. Emission is decay. Decay is also dark energy because that's expansion and decay that you can measure, which is time, which is also entropy. Now, because everything came from that cold, dark, holy void of space, this is inverted. This black hole nucleus is negative 459 degrees. It's almost absolute zero, but it's still really hot. So you have hot and cold entwined in the nucleus here because it's inverted now, because this is the last stage. And this is going to emit light. And that light that emits doesn't necessarily stop at the end of a quasar lobe. This light doesn't just stop. It's still going even though we can't see it. And that helps the universe curve back in on itself because that's an emission. And all of these are at angles from each other. All non-perpendicular. That gives it a curve back in on itself. So we do live in a wheel. Also, in this black void, there is nothing but will, W-I-L-L. Because right here, what will become is a universe. So you could say right now, in this void, there is only will. And that would be the will of God. Because the universe or the light will be. It will become. So it's what will be or what will become. What will happen. What will occur. So, yes, I believe religions are correct with a perspective. I believe the science is correct with a perspective. I believe they can both be merged if people cared to do something like that. I'm just saying. There's a lot of people out there that look into this and they're like, yeah, I mean, this makes sense. And then there's majority that have been programmed, but a lot of people have been waking up to stuff like this.